Hello, welcome to the Soulprint Minis. Thank you so very, very much for being here. I completely, totally love and appreciate all of the support all of you give me all of the time for this channel. And just for me personally, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, so Mini, this is an important week. I mean, there's a lot going on, right? I mean, you've got all of these co-defendants in the Georgia case, schlepping their butts to Fulton County to be arraigned or arrested, as Trump likes to say. So, it's interesting because the bond agreement included things like Trump can't, intimidate. He can't do this with witnesses, potential jurors, co-defendants. He really was told, like, sit down and be quiet and stop. More tellingly, of course, it was very interesting that on Monday, there was not a big press conference at Bedminster where he was going to present irrefutable proof that he's right and the whole rest of the world is wrong. So I'm kind of curious to take a look and see how Trump is interacting with his lawyers. We're not talking about Bernstein because we all know what he is. His actual lawyers, who honestly, I don't know that they're not, let's just say that the DAs that they're going up against are at a higher pay grade. Okay. They're not equipped to deal with what they're dealing with. If they had a compliant client who would just settle down, maybe so, but that's what they have, right? They've got this narcissistic, delusional person who and we're not sure about any other cognitive issues, who's just really fighting this every step of the way. Because frankly, he's always fought everything every step of the way, and it always worked because people back down. But he's playing with the big boys now. Okay. He's not dealing with the city of someplace or even the state of someplace, although Georgia's a state. He's going after really, experienced judges and DAs, et cetera. I, of course, am discounting Eileen Cannon in that. So I want to see how the lawyers and Trump are getting on. Okay. So let's get started, shall we? Here we go. Insight Trump and lawyers, Insight Trump and lawyers, Insight Trump and lawyers. Before I just want to say, I really appreciate the fact that you all are really appreciating the minis. I find for myself that there's just too much. There's just too much of it everywhere. There's too much to absorb. And I just personally am finding that videos that go on and on and on just do not hold my attention. It's like we're saturated. So this is the thing, right? We have to pay attention. We have to be aware of what's going on, but it is important that we don't immerse ourselves into it to a place where we're then fighting to hold our vibration at a higher level because we're so distressed or so worried or anxious. So I'm just saying, I'm really glad that you like this format because I personally just find it easier to take things in bite-sized pieces these days. It's been going on for too long. Our psyches are done. And it's important that we all find ways to continue to cope and stay engaged, without getting ourselves to a place where we really are just saturated. Okay. So let's start. We've got both the King and the Queen of Cups here. And, normally you would think swords, right, would be representative of his lawyers. But in this case, they really are being represented by this King and Queen. So what it's talking about is his lawyers doing whatever they feel they need to do to keep waters calm around their client. And they recognize that it's not working, but they don't have a lot of options, they feel. So what you have here is a situation where they're dealing with such volatility with him that it really does seem that unless you really, really get angry and say, if you do not stop, we're walking out. We cannot, represent somebody who keeps, incriminating themselves, keeps doing things that are just not helpful, which I suspect is how come that amazing press conference never happened. Because, of course, he just can't keep going on and lying about stuff, and he won't let it go. Yesterday morning, I saw a little blurb of John Eastman being, interviewed, I guess, after he had gone in to be arraigned. And somebody asked him if he still believed that the election was stolen. And without a blink, he went, yes. Has it still not dawned on you that particular story isn't going to work? All right. So that's where the lawyers are at. The lawyers are at frustration, and they're dealing with volatility. And, let's face it, most lawyers don't have to deal with that stuff. Because generally, if you're in a place where you need a lawyer, you're pretty much prepared to just do what they say. But apparently not within, the Donald's brain. Things are going to start moving around a lot faster than they can handle in some ways. The New York case, the J6 case, is going to happen much faster. They overplayed their card by asking for a trial in 2026. States. And apparently, they've also reached out to Judge Cannon, and basically said, could you please intercede and just let New York know that we're just not up to the task right now. And so can you do something? No, she can't. First of all, she's incompetent, in my opinion. And secondly, you have a sort of federal judge in Florida, and they're asking her to take a state DA on in Georgia? Come on, this makes no sense. So for the lawyers, they're going to discover that, when is it? Monday of next week, I guess, on the 28th, I think, that the court date gets set for the J6 hearing trial, and it is way, way sooner than they expect. I think I said this in yesterday's reading, a little later than what Smith wants, but way sooner than what Trump's lawyers want. He is burning through resources, literally there is no tomorrow. You have, legal fees mounting at an absolutely insane rate. And he is not, first of all, it's not his money, right? He's tapping it from PACs and donations and all of this kind of stuff. But there's also a lot of money being spent. And because Trump's himself not paying for it, for the lawyers, in some case, he doesn't care, right? It's not coming into his pocket. So what if he has a $2 million bill here and a $3 million bill here? What does it matter to him? It doesn't matter. That's going to continue to dial down as things continue to get more and more legally put in more and more peril, okay? And this is not the donors. Those poor donors who just keep giving their $25 a week or whatever it is, they're on board. But more experienced people, they may say one thing in public, but on the, quietly, they're saying this is ridiculous. We can't keep losing all this money. What if he doesn't, and what if literally he ends up in jail or disqualified from running, and we have no money left to promote somebody else. He's not happy. He does anything that they suggest to him, he doesn't want to hear. He doesn't like it. He is being like night terrors almost about finding himself exactly sort of where logic tells you he should end up, right? He's going to end up destitute. He's going to end up not part of those inner circles. He's going to end up crippled and and powerless. And so one of the things that the lawyers are trying to deal with is not only is he volatile, but the volatility is coming from a place of abject terror. Okay, it's not even fear anymore. It's absolute terror. And so they got their hands full. And truly, he's just not making it easy for anybody. He's really not. I mean, ultimately, he is going to end up not winning. There isn't another way to say it, okay? He's just not going to win. Honestly, he's going after this whole situation ass backwards. And instead of, trying to find a strategy that might create, I don't know, some sympathy with the courts or make the courts think that he's really like crazed and he just didn't understand. He can't do those things because his ego won't let him. But he will continue down this road of doing everything to harm himself. And there we have the greedy king. There we have the greedy king. And so he's going to try desperately to hang on to what he has. I don't see it working. I don't. Ultimately, he's got a problem. He really does. I mean, ultimately, things are not going to go his way. The amount of bickering and arguing and screaming that goes on in those meetings with Trump is insane. Because as much as the lawyers, are wanting to try to win this thing for him, they recognize on a basic level that they're not going to. And Trump is just raging. He's just raging. And the lawyers have figured out that, at least to a small degree, when you threaten to sort of abandon Trump, he settles down, right? That's what happened in those meetings at the Oval Office where the real lawyers came in and said, you do that, we're all walking, right? Department of Justice, when he tried to put that Cook guy, I think his name is, in as like the acting DA. And all the people in the DA said, don't do it because we're on a walk. It seems to be only when he is threatened with abandonment that he will at least pull back and try to contain himself. So it appears that the lawyers have a very, very big job ahead of them. And frankly, it appears as if it's going to be a hard mountain to climb. All right. I hope that's helpful. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.